Well, hey everybody, let me check my mic. Test. Got that turned down. Alright, just thought of something else. Alright. Let's get that right. Alright, mute this. There we go. Alright. Hey everybody, welcome back to another live stream. I am Sam from Python Basics, and Bo and Quincy and everybody at freeCodeCamp allows me to come here every other week and do a stream, and I'm super grateful for that, and I'm always very excited, and we have quite a few people here today. So if you're new here, thanks for joining us. We usually just do a stream from videos that I have done before on my channel, and there is a link down below to that channel. So if anytime there's anything you don't quite understand, or if I've gone over, there are micro videos of everything we have done here. And also, Bo does a very good job. All of these are cataloged on a playlist on freeCodeCamp's YouTube channel. After this, you can just click over there and check out. This is live stream 12, I believe. Cardinal, you may correct me or not. And we do have, this is the 12th. There you go. Cardinal does an awesome job for us. He is our moderator, so he will keep us on task. Cardinal, just FYI, I've done a better job. I got Discord open, so if there's anything you need to let me know that I will see specifically, just hit me up over there on our DM. Okay, so there are a couple things. Nope, not the 4th or 5th. Yes, there will be replayed. All right, I hope the background isn't too bad. I had to move some stuff around. But okay, let's just go ahead and get started. So there are a couple things that I do want to cover first that we may not be aware of. So we're going to be doing a random password generator. Should have put that right there. Random. And if you are new, you do not know yet that I cannot spell. So you will see misspellings, typos, everything. So that's don't be alarmed. You will probably catch many typos. So, all right. So in this password generator, what we're going to need from Python is, of course, something with random. And then, so we're not having to type in all of our letters and characters. We're going to use the string module. So let's just go ahead and let's bring in random first and put that into memory and really learn about it. So what in the world does random do? All right, dir random. All right, cool. All right, so well, let's look at everything about it. So it is a module that the core developers have already created for of us to random variable generators. Now, we're going to touch on towards the end, and also stay tuned till the end, because we're probably going to get through this in under an hour, and I have some extra stuff that I wanted to talk to that I'm going to sneak in at the end. So if you haven't heard pseudo-random, there is no real random. There just isn't, because a human being will begin to repeat digits. There's actually that is noticed, and then a computer is based on logic. So these are actually called pseudo-random, and I have a thought and an idea to actually go over a little bit of how that is actually deduced, how a random number is actually calculated. So, but we need randomality. I think I just made that word up. Randomness. And then the actual characters that we're going to be using. So what we're going to use in our example is, let's get to the bottom. We're going to use choice. Let's see. So help random choice. Choose a random element from a non-empty sequence. All right, that's pretty self-explanatory. Then we're going to use shuffle. So we need to look at this and how we use it. Shuffle. All right. Sorry, just looking to see if there was any. All right, so shuffle. This is super important. And I like to really make a big deal about in place and return. So shuffle does in place. It creates nothing. It doesn't return anything. So, and you're going to pass it the sequence, the list. There we go. So now let's look at string. So string is another module that the core developers have created for us. And let's look at this before we get into it. All right. ASCII, the characters that a computer knows how it tabulates and keeps up with all key strokes. So every character is assigned an ASCII variable. So we'll look at these momentarily, but I want to go over them right now. ASCII letters, ASCII lowercase, ASCII uppercase, ASCII digits, ASCII punctuation. So let's just jump at it. So string, and this is another one that I always have a hard time with. So if we look really close, all right, can you use this in frame? This is in frame. All right, we have lowercase and uppercase. Lowercase and capital, excuse me, or uppercase. I don't know how. All right, so 52. So 26 letters in the English alphabet. 26, we have lowercase and uppercase, so that's 52. Now, letters is both lowercase and uppercase, so we can actually break this out. String dot ASCII lowercase, and boom, I just get lowercase and then uppercase. Boom, capital. All right. Okay, anything notable? Oh, Jan's here. Awesome. Oh, Jan, please after this hit me up on Discord. I want to make sure we get you to be a moderator too, because you've been around a while. I think you sent me some stuff, but that was not, well, we'll talk about that later. Glad to have you here. And glad to have, we got quite a few people here today, so glad we have a pretty large group. And start asking questions. If I have gaps right now, please ask any questions, because this is, when you ask a question, somebody else has that same question, okay? So, I think I was shaking the camera. String digits. All right, oops. What did I do wrong? String dot digits. There we go. So I get 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. String. Yes. Is that what I did, Sting? Thank you. Good catch. Look, I own what I can and what I cannot do. Typing. I actually used to be a worse typer before I began programming, because you have to type these things right. All right. Oops. Sorry, I thought I heard Discord. All right. All right. Okay. So now that we have our base modules that we're going to be using, now we need to begin to create our function. So, guess what we're going to call this function? So we're going to call it password. Now we need to deal with some things that you may or may not be aware of. So we're going to be creating this function with some variability. So we're going to need to take in arguments. Now, some of them are already going to be set that we're going to have a starting point. So if you haven't heard the term default argument or optional argument, comment right now, because we're going to get into it. So if we need to go further into it, just let me know. Because let's just look at one of our highly used functions right here, print. So like I've done before, so these end, perfect example, end is optional, and it is defaulted to new line. That's what that means. So when you have so I have to pass, so when I'm using sum, it is expecting an iterable. It needs to have one argument. So then if I pass, so right here, takes at least one positional argument, 0 is given. So we're going to set it up where we're going to have one positional and then two optional. All right. So let's just look and see what that is going to look like. Yeah, if we have time, we can look at how to replace methods with lists. Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna layer this password generator to let's see. How did I want to do this? We're gonna have this be able to take digits, and we're gonna control the strength. We're gonna have, let me get it up. We're going to take length. Is it going to have digits and the strength of it? We're going to have 3 scenarios: weak, strong, and vary. Now, we need to pass this information on to the user. And how do we pass information on to the user of our function? We have to use a docstring. Strength, and we're going to set this up to true right now. All right, so docstring. Anybody have any questions of what a docstring is? Okay, so what a docstring is literally just this right here. This is the docstring, documentation string, and this is passed along with our 3 quotation marks, and we're going to tell the user what information they need to know. So length of password if you num, if you want a number, and then strength, we're going to pass in weak. And I moved my camera, so if I'm squinting more than, or excuse me, I moved my light so I would get rid of shadows. So if I'm squinting a little bit more than normal, that is why. So all right, length of password, num if you want a number, and strength, weak, strong, and vary. So that is what is going to happen if we then call password. So now I have my documentation string right there. Boom. Let's do this again. I wanted to be able to see if this was in frame. Shoot, is it? Yeah, sorry guys. All right, let's move this up just a touch because I had a multi-line. There we go. Boom, there we go. So whatever you type in your documentation string is the information that's passed along when you begin, so then the user understands and you can communicate even more in depth. And then of course, when you can even have even more, but we'll deal with that at a later time. All right, so Okay, anything before we move on to the actual structure of the function? Anything good, Jan? Cardinal, anything I need to know about before we move on that I might have missed? Okay. Is that light too bright? Do I look all washed out? No. Okay. All right, so now we just need to jump at it. All right, where are the notes? I need to get that ready. All right, so we don't need pass anymore. So now we have, excuse me. So now we need to begin to account for our scenarios. So we're going to take length. Then we're going to have weak, strong, and vary. So we need to account for, we'll deal with num in a minute. But right now we need to have 3 scenarios. Thank you. Misspelled strength. Let's see, did I do it right that time? Is it getting closer? Okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Cardinal. I don't know exactly what you deleted, but awesome. Okay. All right. So we're going to need an if. And then actually, let's get our variables going first. So we need to start separating these. So we're going to have string as key lower. And we're going to have upper because we want to differentiate between these, and we're going to have relative strength and move on from there. As key upper. Now let's do digits. And we know that's, okay, 1, 2. And then you might say, why didn't you just do this? Well, I want to just have some consistency here. So I'm going to do lower, and it's less typing. Lower, plus, whoa. I did page up. Yeah, that's what I did. Upper. Then digits, string dot digits, and then punctuation. Punct string dot punct. I didn't know I misspelled this. I don't think I'd actually ever. Punctuation. And then our password. We're going to increment this. So we're going to start out with a empty string. All right, all right. All right, well, everything that I do on this stream and also basically over on my channel is if somebody is beginning to watch this and has 0 experience with programming and especially Python, that you can jump in, follow along, and it can make sense. We keep this as basic as possible and try to move very slowly into advanced areas. So I hope that answers a couple of the questions that I just kind of saw. All right, because programming can get very overwhelming very, very quickly. If strength equals weak, so now I can change this to weak. All right, pass. All right, so now so I'm going to default this to weak. Boom. All right, so as you go through and as you change one thing, don't write this whole thing at one time and then try to run it, because you're going to make a mistake. I don't know if you've been over to my channel and seen the video on incremental development. Write one functionality, test it, because you could have it fail. You could write You could write a whole section and it begins failing all over the place and you have no idea where to start. So write one thing to change, test it, move on. Because when you go back and you start changing one or two and the whole thing just fails, you just want to rip your eyeballs out. So, all right, let's just incremental improvement, incremental change. All right, so there's my little soapbox for today. All right, so we have this now. This is how we're going to handle any digits. Excuse me. I've been a little congested recently. All right. So, actually, let's build on this. So, for, we won't do the numbers yet. So, for I in range length, then let's see where I am. Then I'm going to take my password and I'm going to increment it up with my random choice from lower. Actually, I just thought about it. We didn't actually, no, we did look at choice, right? Yeah, okay. It's going to randomly pick. So I'm going to randomly pick from lower. So right now, weak is just dealing with the lowercase letters, and that's it. So if I pass it, and we already have it set on weak, so if I do password, and I pass it 5, I don't have it printing out anything. Print password. Actually, this needs to be return PWD. There we go. So I have a password that is print password 5. So make it look a little bit prettier. There we go. So of course it's going to be random again. So just like so. So now I have a 5-letter password, but they're all lowercase. So that scenario is again pretty weak. So now let's add, well, what happens if we want some numbers? So now let's add some functionality that if num. So now, why did I just do if num? Then length, increment down 2, then for I in range 2, password random choice digits, then move on. So all right, now let's go over this. So now I just hardwired this. So if false, so it's defaults to false, so it's not going to include a number unless you change it to true. Then if this is true, because this is, so now if I go num equals true. So now when this catches true, this is going to reduce. So we're defaulting and hardwiring this into, I want at least two of my characters to be digits. So I'm removing this down, making this shorter by 2. Then I'm going through here 2 times, grabbing 2 digits, then continuing on. So now let's run this. So now, let's run this again. Now if we look, we'll deal with this later with some randomness. Should have probably looked that up before I started to be able to conjugate random randomness. So I'm going to have 2 random numbers at the beginning, and then the remainder of them will be characters. So now that is our week. So now let's do something with strong, and we'll deal with this in a minute. So I had my if, that's my first condition, and then elif strength equals strong. So now what I want to do is I want to then include both uppercase and lowercase in strong. And then for with vary, we're going to add punctuality too. Punctuation, not punctuality. I knew that sounded weird. Sorry. We're going to add punctuation to our random password. All right. Okay. So now we saw what we did with numbers. So we're going to do num if, and let's see what we did. We're going to go. So now with strong, we're going to keep this as 2, and then with vary, we're going to add a little bit of flexibility and a little bit more randomness. So that's why we're not blanketing our number choices, and then we want them to be we want them to vary each of these. So all right, let's see. So we got, let me see where I am with my notes. We're on strong. So same thing, we're going to lengthen by 2. And then for I in range 2, then password increment. If I can increment. My typing's not that great today, everybody, so I apologize. Then our random choice digits. And then we'll come out here and still do our passwords. But now this, for I in range length. Now here's where it's going to change, where we're giving a little bit more depth of character. We're going to use choice.letters. And actually, all right, so since I already created this, and you may have typed this, so we'll leave letter and letter the same. So now we have upper and lowercase here. Let me check my indentation. Something didn't feel right. All right, so now we'll leave that, copy, paste, and then now we're going to have strength. And this is going to be strong. All right, does everybody understand what I'm doing so far? All right, so let's see. All right. All right, so now I have my strong, and I have 5 here. Let's up this to 10. So now I have digits, capital and lowercase, all in together. But as you'll know, we have a problem here where it's too consistent. It's if somebody starts seeing this, they're going to realize, all right, so I only have to pick, there's only digits at the front, so we need to handle this right now. So random dot shuffle and we're going to have a problem here in a minute. So wait a second. Shuffle a list. So that's a problem. So we need to come here and go password equals list password. We need to turn this into a list. Then we pass this. So now let's look and see. We're going to have another problem. Aha! What is our issue? What, to remind you, because this is what, so help. What did random shuffle do? Who remembers in the docstring? Random, not shuffle. It's a very big issue that you have to pay attention to when you're reading the documentation. This is it right here. In place, return none. So it doesn't create anything. So when I pass this, it returns none. That's why I get none right here. So I need to then put this back. I need to, so I run that, then return password, PWD. One more problem. This is still a list, so now I have to go so this is a list. We got dot join password. Bam. So now I have shuffled, rejoined. I'm using my join method on a list for a string, and now I have these random passwords. So we have weak, we have strong. Now let's go ahead and knock out now we need to deal with vary. So we've handled a lot of this. So now let's go. All right. Strength. I'm gonna type that pretty good. Equals vary. If num. So now vary. We want this to be very strong, right? So we need to add a little bit more of some randomness to this. So ran equals random dot rand int 2 to 4. So right now I don't even know how many digits it's going to have. It's going to have 2, 3, or 4. So I wanted to make this a little bit even more out of my hands. Okay? Okay. All right. All right, so then now we need to do a little bit of math here, just like we did with our 2, but now we need to handle this. So let me see where I am with my notes. All right, so and also to let everybody know that I've gotten pretty good at not closing out the shell, and after the stream going over to my GitHub. So you can get to my GitHub on any video link on my YouTube channel, and all of this is there. I have one full consistent freeCodeCamp.org file that I keep adding to, and then the notes, the shell, all the notes, all the output for the day that I have in a file dated today, and that's in its own folder, freeCodeCamp folder over on my GitHub server on my repository, just to let everybody know. I have not been voicing that as much as I've been meaning to. So all right, where are we? So we're at our if num. Then we need to adjust this a little bit. So now all these others were just decrementing down by 2. Well, we need to set up some functionality. We don't know how many digits it's going to have. We know with an idea with a random number. So now we need to increment down by that. And then, oops. Then for I in range of ran. Oops. Then password. And increment up by random choice digit. And then I come out. So then I need to shorten the length by my ran incrementation. Then for I in range ran. So then also we're going to have random punctuality too. We're going to use that same for this right here to really get some randomness. Password increment random dot choice punct. And then we're just going to do some letters for in range whatever is left over. So if you want you're going to have typically a very long password. Random dot, and then you could set some functionality up. Be like, hey, and letter. All right. And I'm missing a there. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Let's clean that up some. So now, copy. Let's go 15. And we have very. Let's see how we did. Let's check any good comments. Password equals password. I love that. Do you know that people actually, that's like the most used, I think there's a list. There was an old movie. Well, I say old. Ancient to you guys, old to me. It was called, I think, Hackers back in like 1993 or 1994. Had some pretty famous people in it that hadn't been seen yet before. So, all right. All right, so here we go. Whoa. Let's see where I got what I left out. All right. And, whoa. Well, that's not good. Let's see, I left a whole bunch of stuff out. Length, letter choice, and then increment up, random dot choice, and this is supposed to be length. My eyes are all over the place today, everybody. I apologize. Length, choice, dot, parentheses, letter. There we go. Okay. Oh, you have seen that. You are right. It did have Angelina Jolie and a couple of others. It was a very interesting movie. Okay, now check this out. Oh, good question. All right, so let's break this out. So what does this do right here? So, all right, help dot string dot join. Str. All right. Help dot str dot join. My fingers are not typing. Okay, so this is a little odd, and you might go, okay, this doesn't make any sense, because you're passing it a list, but you're getting a string. Most of the time you have a string, and then you do something to it. So let me see if I can do this right here. So you're having a string that you're saying, hey, I don't want any spaces in it, and this is the list or the sequence that I want to put with this string that doesn't have anything in it. So if I were to, I know that sounds really weird. So let's look at this right here. So I have a list of name. We got Sam. Then I take name and I throw it in a list. Name. So now I have name and it's a list, right? So now I want you to make a string, have 0 spaces in it, and I want that information for you to put in there with no space is the list with the contents of the contents of name. Now, and I can put anything in there. I want a space, so then I do join name. I get, which happen to be the characters of my name with a space in between. Now this is where it gets really handy. I want to put an asterisk between all of the characters, which happen to be my name. And again, it's whatever string you want. It's a reverse split. Think about that. All right. Yes, it joins and it takes the contents of a sequence, and then whatever, here's the glue. That's what I want you to think about. Because I remember the first time I was like, well, why isn't join a list method? Well, it's not, because you're using this string, then that's a string, and then this is the method for this string with this sequence. There we go. All right. Really good question. Okay. Let's see. All right, cool. I was hoping we would get done, and shoot, I did not mute the tablet. I hope that isn't too disturbing. So I actually wanted to go over, we're going to do a little bit of bonus stuff. So let's go over some things that just are random that I've had on my channel that actually, let me make sure that this is everything that I wanted to cover. All right. Yes, let me check these notes right here. Yep. All right. So you guys have maybe seen packing and unpacking. Well, I want to show you this. Let's comment that out. So I want to show you how to unpack with a splat and zip. So let me just show you this. So this is a little bit of bonus. So we have 2 lists. We have student, we have grade, the grade that they're in, and we want to put them together. So I want to zip them together. Classes equals list equals zip. So I'm going to zip just like a zipper. You put one side to the other. So I'm going to zip these together. Student and grade. So now I put this into memory. And I have a new list object with tuples and it zips it one after another. So that is a very handy tool. But now, what happens if I wanted to unpack this? How would I go through? I could go in and I could go and really it's like I could chop this up. Well, I remember when I first saw this. This was the coolest thing. So new students and grades. So now I can literally use the same tool, but I'm going to use a splat character. Splat. classes. So I'm going to pass this back through, and this is how you literally unzip. So now I just unzipped everything. So now I have new students and I have grades. I remember that was, so I have grade and grades, so I just didn't type the same. We got new students and students. Now, all right, so that's bonus 1. And I was looking through the other day, and I haven't done a very good job of showing you guys, because it's basically kind of like the question of, hey, what in the world does that join do? Because you've never talked about it. So now let's kind of look at some string stuff right here. All right, that's not the one I wanted to see. I wanted to see this. All right. Okay. X equals, where do I have it? Help. Help. All right. Put that into memory. X and dir on X. I have all of these methods right here. Check this one out. I remember the first time I was sitting trying to solve this problem, and it was just a silly thing to make you think about it. Help. Nope. Center. We're already pulling up help. Okay. Return a centered string of a length. Okay. So if I pass in center, and if I give what? Let's see. I can't remember. Let's do this. What does it do? Is it in place or does it return? It returns. So we got one of two ways. So x.center equals 50, and then what do I want to have around it? Let's do that. So now check this out. So this is 50 characters, and help is in the center. Okay, that was one of the cool ones that I liked. Let's see, and we'll go over more. Oh, well, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh yeah, sorry, forgot I was in a different application over here. All right, so now here's another one that I like a lot. Okay. Oops. Okay. Comment this out. So now I have a list of names and digits, integers. Okay. Now, let's look at help dot dir.str. AI is, what am I looking for? Is upper, is title, is digit, is space. I'm looking for, which one am I looking for? Is numeric. That's what I wanted. Is ASCII, is numeric. So I want to create a list of name equals, we're going to do some list comprehension here. False. If str I is numeric, else true for I in X. Let's run this. Name. So boom. So now I go through, and what I just did is I took, we go for I in X print I, right? So then what I did is I wanted to look at, because this was a string and it went through And I wanted to know, the reason why I did it like this is because it knows if this is a, right here, integer, but still that is an integer, just an ASCII integer or numeric. So that was that. Now, I cannot remember if we have looked at the help prompt on any of these streams. Jan, Cardinal, do you guys remember if we have done the help prompt? Because I'm sure with out of these 400, so there are some people that okay. So when you don't pass in an argument for help, you get the help prompt. And this is where Python becomes extremely powerful. So you can literally, because this was kind of like my journey. Okay. So then you start bouncing around, and then you have built-ins, functions, and then what am I thinking about? Oh, keywords, words. There we go. Oh, okay. So if you've noticed that there's no way for you to run help on some things, because you can run help on a function and on a method, right? Then let's see, what does for do? Oh, so there is a lot of documentation on for. Okay, so it goes through and so you don't have to, don't try to memorize anything. Understand what you want to do. So, all right, hint. Okay, so then we're talking about range. Okay, so now you're going down this rabbit hole. So what is for? Okay, and it has a scenario range. Well, what's range? Okay, and then I got 83 lines of range. Okay, that is the function. Okay, so that is the function that has the stop or the 3 arguments. So here's the optionals, and we just go from there, and you end up going down this rabbit hole. Keywords. Okay, so what is this? What is this while? So then, okay, so I have this, and then then I'm just bouncing around. None. What is none? And don't confuse don't confuse this, because that's not anything. Aha. So it's a none type. So there we go, guys. That is, I was really hoping I'd get to all of these things, but this is a super important feature. In fact, that if you have a question and you can't get it answered anywhere, jump over to my channel, drop it in one of the comments, hit up any one of us on Discord, and you're not in this alone. All right, I believe in everything that CodeCamp is doing, what Quincy's trying to do, what Bo running the YouTube channel. We are all to help you here in your Python journey. And the reason why I make the micro videos is because I remember the journey that I was on trying to learn programming, and I was all over the place. I'd see a video, I'd do a video, I would try to remember where I saw it. Every single topic that I've covered here so far is in a micro video over on my channel. You're not going through this alone. All right, so I just wanted to say that if you're spending time doing this, you're doing a very good job. All right, and freeCodeCamp is here. I'm here. You're not dealing with this by yourself, and you'll be able, just sit down, type, solve some code, write some code, do a little bit at a time. Don't try to solve the whole problem at one time. So all right, guys, there we go. Another great stream. You guys are doing awesome. I want to appreciate Free Code Camp. Make sure you're subscribing to their channel as well. Joining if you can, buying any merch. Great organization. Wholeheartedly believe in everything that they are trying to do. So there we go, guys. Another awesome stream today. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody.